It's an absolute unit of a plane, and it has the unique benefit of actually being really good. Hey there, I'm John, this is Two Brothers RC, and this is the Hangar 9 Valiant 20cc. I say 20cc, but it's actually a plug-and-play balsa plane set up for 6-cell electric out of the box. Yes, you can fly gas with the ARF, but I didn't because I don't fly gas. It flies well, but we'll dive into my opinion in a second. So let's dive into it and see how it stacks up to the no patent pending Two Brothers review system for giant scale wood airframes that may or may not happen to do a little 3D. What's my opinion? It's amazing. It looks incredible. It's built well. It does everything I tell it to do, and it looks good doing it. It's got high quality servos. It can hover. It'll do 3D flying. Basically, it does everything that I enjoy, and it does stuff that you'll love too. It makes me sound like I'm not impartial and like I'm just fawning over it because Horizon sent it to me to demo for you. And while I'm sure there's a little bit of human nature at play here, I try to let the flying speak for itself. It really is something special. Anyone who flies it is going to have to lie through their teeth to find something to really complain about because it's one of the best flying aircraft I have in my collection at the moment. But that's just my opinion. Starting off with maneuverability, the first check that we make here is for whether it can be flown with a neutral center of gravity. The stock balance point is nose heavier than I personally prefer, but it's perfectly flyable like this. You'll get the stock balance point if you use the battery straps as they come out of the box. You'll be able to fly it really well like that, and most people will love it. If you're like me though, and you want something a little more aggressive, consider moving the battery straps further aft in the plane so that the battery is located under the top hatch. You'll shift the balance point to the middle of the center cabin window, which makes it fly significantly more aggressive without feeling tail heavy at all, especially on the gyro gains that I'll provide later on in this video. It does take off without any struggle. If you throttle up, it'll take off on its own. It's a very no-drama airplane, and it takes no particularly special skills to lift off the ground with. Landing is almost as easy as takeoff. You will bounce it if you don't set it down gently, but it won't bounce hard, and it will take the impact like a champ. If you enjoy slipping, it'll slip down to a landing easily. If you prefer wheel landings, it'll do them no problem. If you're like me, it'll do one-wheel touch-and-goes easily too. It's very good at both takeoff and landing. The thrust is more than adequate. It's enough to hover on the stock setup, unlike the Timber SWS, which itself required a motor upgrade and a prop swap to hover like this on screen. Though one could argue that my Timber SWS upgrades made it sound a little more cool than the Valiant does, despite the Valiant doing this out of the box. Something about that avian motor and prop combo makes it sound like it's ripping the sky apart. I absolutely love it. The Valiant has enough thrust to throw this thing around like a 3D plane, both in Harriers and in hovering. Or flat spins, or tumbles, or point rolls, you name it. It does so much that I almost used giant scale 3D metrics for it here because it would have done well on that scoring system too. And the 3D metrics are actually even more difficult to nail than the regular scoring systems are. The stall speed and stall recovery are both low and easy. The Valiant is not prone to stalls, and it's not a hard airplane to recover from stalls. It's docile enough that I could recommend this as your first giant scale Woody. It's certainly a Woody that's big and stiff enough, and the way it handles is very friendly for most people, even people like me who prefer aggressive airplanes. Valiant scores a 5 out of 5 here. Flight time is our next subject. The general idea behind flight time is that we're looking for a minimum of 3 minutes with this type of airplane, which is a 1 out of 5 on our scoring system, up to 7 minutes or beyond, which is a 5 out of 5 on our system. 7 minutes is the gold standard for props of all types in my view. If I can get more than that, great! If not, 7 minutes of spirited flying is still quite a bit. Valiant reasonably hits 7 minutes and beyond with the kind of flying that I like doing, which is a mix of aggressive and scale flying. Despite not being a scale aircraft, it does have lines that are very similar to the Luscombe 8A, which makes it look elegant and sleek in the air. If you fly more traditionally and aren't interested in doing 3D with everything like I am, you will easily hit 10 minutes and beyond. Thus, the Valiant earns a 5 out of 5 here. Moving on to landing gear, what I check for in this category is whether the wheels are functional, whether said wheels can absorb impact by not being hard plastic boulders, whether the suspension is stiff and can prevent prop strikes, and whether the gear are light and require low maintenance. So with that in mind, the wheels are both functional, as in they meet the absolute bare minimum of rolling on the ground, and they're also squishy to an extent, so they absorb impact. They appear to be made of rubber, which is awesome, because not only are they squishy, they're also quiet, two things that I absolutely love when it comes to wheels. The suspension is stiff, so it's not going to bend on reasonably hard landings. You guys know that I usually look for suspension that can absorb shock, but that's not something that you want on a wood airplane like this. Prop strikes can destroy a motor box, and that's not a cheap replacement. Sometimes it means an entire fuselage needs to be ordered, and that's expensive. So strong struts that can handle landing of all reasonable types are what we look for here, and it definitely has that, for sure. The gear are both lightweight and require low maintenance. It's a metal strut connected to wheel pants with wheels. The only way this could get simpler is to ditch the wheel pants. Valiant earns a 5 out of 5 in this section. Before we move on, scroll down just a little and hit that like button for me. If you're not already subscribed, get on it. And if you're not part of our Discord chat server yet, hop down to the description below to join up with 4,000 plus people and chat airplanes with us. Moving to fit and finish, what I look for here in this metric system is whether the covering was warped or deformed out of the box, whether the linkages are high quality, whether the hinges are gapless or plastic, if it's easy to assemble, and if the battery gets airflow. The covering looks fantastic, let's start there. I didn't even have to iron it down out of the box. That's how good this was. Most Woodies I've flown require a little ironing out of the box because temperature changes and pressure changes during shipping cause the covering to peel up slightly in some spots. This one was perfect when it arrived, which makes it even easier to get set up and flying for you. The linkages are all high quality and are the same type that the Timber SWS uses now, for those of you who own it and bought it within the last year or so. These are metal clevises, or clevici? I'm not sure, that are very durable and easy to adjust and are also rock solid too. If this plane has a failure point, it ain't this. The hinges are all big and beefy and will hold up to anything you want to do with this plane. Assembly was pretty easy. If you've owned a balsa plane before, it's not hard to put together at all. The wing tube slides into the fuselage for easy storage, and the wings pop on the tube no problem. The Valiant is pre-wired with extensions for the LEDs, flaps, and ailerons. You can wire all of them direct to a 6-channel or 8-channel receiver. The wings slot in place and are held firmly with nylon thumb screws, which is typical for most balsa airplanes that I've owned. Finally, the battery gets ample amounts of airflow from the snoot of the Valiant, which then gets directed through the fuselage and out the bottom of the aircraft, allowing for high-energy flights without destroying the battery. Valiant earns a 5 out of 5 in this category as well. Our final category is Avionics and Lighting. Here, I'm looking for whether the servos are fast, precise, and metal, and whether the ESC is prone to overheating, if it contains lighting, and if that lighting is correct, whether the battery can be positioned favorably for a nose-heavier or neutrally balanced center of gravity, and whether the motor mount is well designed. Now, starting off with the servos, they're pretty awesome. They're the same ones that the Timber SWS flies with, Spectrum A6380 high-voltage servos. Unlike the Timber SWS, the Avian 100-amp ESC in the Valiant was set to 7.4 volts out of the box, so the HV servos are even faster and stronger than the Timber servos are. You can even go higher to 8.4 volts, but you might burn out the LEDs. Of course, I did set my Timber's ESC to 7.4 volts too. So check the 1-year follow-up vid for more info on the Timber SWS and the mods that I did to it. The lighting on Valiant exists and is correct, which is great. The wingtips have the lights installed in the wing with plastic covers over them, similar to full-scale aircraft, and the lighting definitely helps with orientation while flying. The battery is adjustable with a bit of work. You can place it under the top hatch if you want, which is what I prefer for a more aggressive experience that handles better for how I prefer to fly, or you can leave it in the stock position if you prefer. Or you can even make a balance and put it in between those two spots. There's plenty of customization you can play with here. The motor mount appeared very solid since this thing was hovered, tumbled, thrown around, and it still didn't complain. Valiant earns a 5 out of 5 in this section. Before we tally up the scoring, Valiant was flown on the following AS3X Plus gains visible on screen right now. Note that these are throttle-based gains and as such will reduce effectiveness of the gains with increased throttle, and as such are not designed to be used as fixed gains, so you need to 100% ensure that you're listening to what I'm telling you and set this up as throttle-based gains. Otherwise, I cannot and will not be held responsible for what happens. These gains made it fly very well indeed, especially since I used the auxiliary surface wizard to program the flaps to stabilize and roll to make the Valiant snap cleanly in point rolls. All that said, the Valiant scores a total of 25 out of 25 on our giant scale wood aircraft metric system. That's super impressive. It does everything I like to do, and it'll do what you like to do too. If you want one, I'd suggest that you get it with the Spectrum 8360T bundle for $50 more than the standard bundle, so $850 instead of just $800. And also, consider using our affiliate link when you do so. We really appreciate the support. I don't know if that price will last forever, but it's still active as of the time of recording this video. I don't have time to post a setup video because this is literally being edited the day before this video has to post, so I will post a setup file for you on Discord and you can ask for help there in the Tech and Setup channel. Speaking of help, this channel would not be possible without our channel members, so huge thanks goes out to said channel members on twobrosrc.com/supporters, and a very special thanks goes out to our mega fans, Sarasota RC Squadron, Michael Smith, JR Man, Todd, N411X, Jeff Baker, and High Alpha Guto, along with our ultra fan, TBRC fan. You guys kick so much ass. Be sure to swing by twobrosrc.com and pick up some of your favorite TBRC merch. Coming up soon will be the Nall 2026 recap. I was out there during the first weekend and a bunch of you came up and said hi, and I loved hanging out with all of you guys. You're absolutely wonderful people. I'll be there next year, but before that, I'll see you guys again with a new upload on Saturday, May 23rd.
You see the water coming out of it?
God almighty, dude.
Woo-hoo!